Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to get into something that I know a lot of you struggle with.
Yeah.
It's how to actually fit English practice into a life that's
Yeah.
already totally packed.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your work and your family and your studies and all
That's
of
a
the daily things that
Yeah.
you've got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it can feel totally impossible to even think about
Yeah,
finding the time to
Yeah.
practice English.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a common thing that we hear people say, the path to becoming fluent seems like this huge
Yes.
mountain to climb, and it requires all of these hours of study
Right.
that they
Yes.
just don't have.
Exactly.
And so it's easy to just
Yeah.
sort of give up before you've even started.
Totally. And that's what we want to kind of unpack today.
Yeah.
This idea that
Yeah.
short bursts of practice can actually be way more effective than trying to find these long,
Yes.
infrequent study sessions.
Exactly.
So we want you to think about it as kind of uncovering these little opportunities
Yeah.
that you already have throughout your day.
Okay.
So our mission in this deep dive is to give you some simple, realistic, and truly effective ways to make English just a natural part of your routine.
Absolutely. And without having to make any big drastic changes to your life.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
no massive life overhaul needed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we need to start with the mindset.
Okay.
Because I think this is really
Yeah.
where the real transformation happens.
Right.
Because it's so easy to fall into that trap
Yeah.
of thinking, okay, I need to block out an hour
Mm-hmm.
and do grammar exercises.
Right.
And then when that doesn't happen, you feel like a failure.
That's true. And what's interesting, I think, is that
Yeah.
the way that we've traditionally thought about learning.
Okay.
Actually can get in the way.
Yes.
Because we think
Yeah.
about learning as something that's very formal and
Yeah.
happens in a classroom.
Right.
But language acquisition, and in
Yeah.
particular fluency,
Mm-hmm.
really thrives on consistent exposure
Yes.
and active engagement,
Exactly.
even if it's in small amounts.
That's
It's not so much about
Yeah.
these intensive study blocks
Mm-hmm.
as it is about regular
Yeah.
interaction.
I love that. So instead of thinking about it as
Yeah.
like a task that you have to complete,
Right.
we want you to think about it as
Yeah.
something that can become a natural part of your
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
So think about all of those things that you do
Mm-hmm.
every day without even thinking,
Yeah.
like brushing your teeth or, glancing at your phone.
Right.
Could English become that
Yeah.
ingrained,
That's
that consistent?
If we think about it in terms of habits.
It's the small repeated actions that you take that
Yeah.
make a big difference in the long run.
Yeah.
So trying to cram a bunch of study into
Yeah.
a short amount of time is like
Yeah.
trying to get fit by exercising once a month.
Right.
It's just not as effective as doing a little during
Totally.
the day.
Exactly. And so that daily exposure, even if it's just,
Right.
a few minutes here and
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
is where you're really going to start
It really makes a
to
difference.
see that
Yeah.
fluency
Yeah.
develop.
Someone once described it to me as thinking of English as the background hum of your life.
Oh, I love that.
Like it's always there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's present. And
Yeah.
it's almost like it's the default language that your brain can go to.
I love that. So it's that shift from
Yeah.
actively studying to
Yeah.
passively
Yeah.
just living in English.
Right.
So how can we do that?
Yeah. Let's start with your morning routine. What's interesting about mornings is you tend to have a pretty set routine,
Yeah, we do.
and that makes it a good place to
Yeah.
introduce a new habit.
Okay, so think about those first few moments when you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Could you set your alarm in English?
Right.
Maybe you could
Yeah.
change your alarm sound to a song with English lyrics,
That's a good idea.
or even use an alarm that speaks in English.
Yeah. So what's good about that is it's the first thing that you hear when you wake up. So
Right.
it's that immediate exposure to the language.
I love it.
Yeah.
What about changing your phone's language to English?
Yeah.
I know that sounds kind of inconvenient to
Yeah.
some people, but if you stick with it,
Yeah.
you'll be amazed at how quickly your brain adapts.
It's
And you start,
and that little bit of friction at the beginning actually helps you to learn
yes,
because you're having to think about
Right.
what the words mean.
exactly. And it helps you learn it in context.
Yeah, you're not just passively reading, you're actively problem solving.
Totally. Okay, so you're going through your morning routine.
Yeah.
You're brushing your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You're making coffee.
Right.
What if you put on an English podcast
You could do that. Or even
or a YouTube video?
a short YouTube video.
Make it just a routine.
Yeah, and the important thing here is to choose something that you're interested in.
Yeah. What do you like?
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Yes. Find something that you're actually interested in.
If you like to cook,
Right.
you could watch English cooking shows.
Exactly.
If you're interested in current events, you can listen to an English news podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, how about daily affirmations or journaling in English?
Okay.
You can even just write 2 sentences. It's be high.
Right. Today I feel. And you write how you're feeling.
That's a good idea.
And my goal for today is...
Yeah, and what's interesting is that by connecting your feelings...
Yes. With the language, it makes it more meaningful for you.
Exactly. Okay, so you've started your day with some English.
Okay.
What about when you're on the move?
Right.
Your commute, your travel time,
Yeah.
whether you're walking, taking public transport, or driving.
This is a great time.
This is a really valuable time to practice English.
It's often underutilized.
Yes.
Because people just zone out.
Totally.
But it's a really good opportunity for learning.
Yes, especially for auditory learning.
Yeah.
So podcasts are perfect for this.
Podcasts are great.
You know, we've mentioned Luke's English podcast.
Yep.
All Ears English. TED Talks in English.
There are so many to choose from.
There are so many to choose from. Don't forget about audiobooks.
Oh, yeah. Audiobooks are great.
If you have a long commute, you can really get into an audiobook.
Yes.
And lots of platforms like Audible
Right.
have free trials. So you can try out different genres and see what you like. Okay, and now I want to introduce you to this technique that might feel a little weird at first.
Okay.
But it's so effective.
Okay, tell me more.
It's called shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay.
And it involves listening to someone speak English and trying to repeat exactly what they say out loud. And it's so good.
So what's important when you're shadowing is to really pay attention to the intonation, stress, all of the nuances, not just the individual word.
And the best part is that even if you only have 15 minutes each way on your commute, that's 30 minutes a day.
That's right.
Of English practice.
And if you do that every day, it really adds up.
Without having to find any extra time.
Exactly. It's that consistency that we were talking about.
Okay, so you've arrived at work.
Okay.
Or school. You take a break.
Yeah.
And you probably just want to check out.
Right. Most people just want to, go on social media.
Yes. Scroll through social media.
Yeah.
But what if?
Yeah.
You use a few minutes of that break
right.
for a little English boost.
Yeah. So you're just choosing to do something that will help you learn English.
Exactly.
Instead of something else.
Yeah. So instead of going on Instagram, maybe you could open an app like Feedly or Flipboard and read an English article.
Yeah.
You can even...
And you can choose what topics to see.
Yeah.
So that you can read something you're interested in.
Right. What about using sticky notes?
Oh, yeah. Sticky notes.
You can put them on your desk, your computer monitor.
Right.
And you can label things around your workspace.
Yeah. You can write the word...
In English.
In English on a sticky note and put it on the object.
Exactly. Or little reminders to yourself in English.
Yeah. So every time you look at it, you're reinforcing that word.
I love that. Another strategy is to keep a word of the day notebook.
Okay, a word of the day notebook.
Yeah. And during your break, you can just review a new word or two and try to make a sentence with it in your head.
Right, and that helps you to remember the word because you're actively using it.
Exactly. And you can even just think in English for a minute or two about what you're working on or your next task. Those little mental exercises can really make a difference.
And it all adds up, all of those little moments.
Okay. So we spend so much time on our phones and, entertainment.
Yeah.
So how can we make that screen time work for our English?
So it's about being more intentional.
Yes.
About what you're doing on your phone.
Exactly.
You're already spending time on your phone. So can you make some of that time about learning English?
Exactly. So think about who you follow on social media.
Right.
Could you add some English-speaking influencers on Instagram, TikTok?
You could, or you could watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, and you'll be...
And what's good about that is you can learn about other cultures and things
right.
while you're learning English.
Totally. Okay? When you're watching Netflix,
yeah,
try turning on the English subtitles, even if the show isn't English.
Yeah.
And then you can even try.
And then if you really want to challenge yourself, you can try watching...
Without
subtitles.
Without the subtitles and see how much you understand.
That's a good way to improve your listening.
Yes. Don't be afraid to. Leave comments on posts in English.
Right.
You don't have to write a novel.
Yeah.
Just a simple, this is great.
Right. Or, I agree.
Or, I totally agree.
Yeah. And that helps you to practice using the grammar and vocabulary.
Yes. If you're looking for more direct interaction,
okay,
try a language exchange app.
Yeah, language exchange apps are great.
Like HelloTalk or Tandem.
Yeah.
And you can connect with people.
And you can find people who are learning your language.
You want to practice English.
And you can help each other.
Yeah.
It's a good way to practice speaking.
Especially in a low-pressure environment.
Yeah, it's not as scary.
Right. Okay, what about our homes?
Yeah, your home environment.
How can we turn our home into an English learning zone?
Right. So you can create visual prompts and opportunities to use English.
So one simple trick is to label things around your house with sticky notes.
Sticky notes are great.
I know. You could write window, refrigerator, lamp.
Yeah. Yeah, just stick it right on there.
Yeah, just stick it right on the object. It's a constant visual reminder.
All right. You're basically making your own vocabulary flashcards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And talk to yourself in English.
Oh, yeah.
While you're doing things around the house.
Talking to yourself.
It sounds crazy.
It might feel a little weird at first.
But it helps.
But it's a really good way to practice.
So if you're cooking dinner,
you
could say, now I'm adding the salt.
Right.
Or if you're doing laundry.
Or I'm folding the towels.
It's time to fold the towels.
And it's good because you're not worried about making mistakes in front of anyone.
Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
And you can play English music.
Oh, yeah. Music is great.
And sing along.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's fun, and it helps you with your pronunciation, your rhythm. It helps you to remember words.
Yeah. You could also try having an English-only dinner.
Oh.
Okay, once a week.
So that means you can only speak English.
Only English.
During dinner.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a fun challenge.
Yeah.
As you're winding down at night, think about how you can add a little English into your night routine.
Yeah, because if you end the day thinking about English, it helps your brain to consolidate the learning.
I love it. You could write a short journal entry.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be long.
Right.
Just 3 sentences summarizing your day.
Yeah. And that helps you to think about what happened and use the vocabulary that you've learned.
How about reading just one page of an English book before bed?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be a difficult book.
A huge novel. Just one page.
And even just one page.
Of something simple.
Will make a difference over time.
Or watch a short English video.
Okay, a short video.
Maybe just 5 minutes long. And then try to summarize it.
Yeah, and try to say what happened in the video.
Out loud in English.
Yeah, that's good practice.
Yeah. And just take a moment to think about any new words or phrases that you learned that day.
Just think about what you learned.
Even if it's just 1 or 2 words.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about all these little ways to fit English into your day, but how do you make sure that you do it consistently?
Right, because it's easy to get sidetracked, so it can be helpful to have a plan.
A plan. So make a simple weekly checklist.
Okay, a weekly checklist.
Yeah. You could include things like listening to at least 3 English podcasts.
Okay.
Writing 2 journal entries in English. Learning 10 new words. And trying to use them in sentences. Having at least 1 conversation in English. And watching 1 video in English without subtitles.
So it's up to you what you put on your checklist.
Yes.
But the important thing is to have some goals.
Goals. Then every Sunday, take a few minutes to review your week and check off the things you did.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up.
And don't worry.
If you miss something.
If you don't do everything. It's okay.
Life happens.
Just start fresh.
Exactly. Just start fresh the next week.
The next week.
It's all about progress.
Yeah.
Not perfection.
It's a journey.
Not a race.
Okay. So the main takeaway here is that you don't need...
You don't need to find it.
Hours and hours, time to improve your English.
Right.
What's important...
Consistency is key.
Is consistency, even when you're super busy.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit each day.
Even a little bit.
Yeah.
Is better than nothing.
Is going to be more beneficial than waiting for that perfect moment that never comes. Fluency comes from.
Fluency is about...
Lots of little actions.
Lots of little things that you do consistently.
Not one big effort. So don't aim for perfection.
Right.
Just focus on finding those little moments in your day to practice. And think about how you can add English into the things you're already doing.
Yeah.
Your thoughts.
Yeah.
The things that you watch and listen to your habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us today. If you found these strategies helpful, share them with your friends who are also learning English.
Tell your friends.
And make sure that you're following us so you don't miss our next deep dive.
Yeah, so think about what you can start doing today to improve your English.
So pick one or two of these strategies and give it a go. Until next time.
Keep learning. Keep speaking.
And keep showing up for your language learning goals. We'll see you soon.